You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday.
So we got a lot to talk about today. I don't know about you, but we got a lot to talk about because I got something for later, but I've also got a little business up front I want to talk about. And then I got a few games I want to talk about too. And then you got your things that you got to talk about. So if we go longer than 2, just say, "Oh yeah, they do that."
Every once in a while. Yeah.
So first of all, did you? I'm not trying to spread paranoia.
Oh. Okay.
But seems like Last of Us is starting to seem like a possibility.
For what?
Did you not hear this?
I guess not.
There's apparently a viral fungus that's spreading.
Oh, yeah, I did actually hear about that in
Candida
the first...
auris, I think is the scientific term. I probably botched it, but...
They did say it wasn't reanimating anything, though, so...
That is true.
We could be calm on that. Like, no, dead people are getting the fungus and trying to eat us.
And it seems to be centrally located in hospitals. Like, that's where it seems to be spreading because it's in the equipment or something like that. And then that's where the virus is spreading. So, but they're saying it's highly contagious within those hospitals. I don't know if it's gotten out. Don't know how exactly. The way they made it seem, transmissions, like I couldn't just come up and cough on you and you're going to get it.
Okay.
So,
and it didn't sound like it was going to take a bunch of people out. Like maybe if you were immunocompromised or something, but it didn't sound like you couldn't just fight off whatever it was or something. So, but yeah, that was, as soon as I heard that coming up, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah. I think the concerning bit from what I've read is the fact that it seems to be immune to any antifungal medicines.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So antibiotics and things like that. It's just like, no, not going to take me down today.
The planet is trying to shake a few of us off probably so it can live.
And rightfully so.
I hate to say it that way, but I mean, the planet's going to be around longer than us probably.
She was here
it's been
first.
around longer than before.
Mm-hmm. So just be aware of that.
Yes.
Should things happen. Again, I'm not trying to spread anything. I don't know a lot about it, but I want to keep my eye on it because unlike what I did with COVID,
right?
I just kind of was like, because you hear about it all the time.
Yeah, I was the same way when I was first hearing about it. I'm like, it's over there. We'll be fine.
Right.
And then people were like, maybe you should read a little bit more about it, Lace, because I'm not sure this time. And then started looking at them like, oh, I should be looking into this a little bit closer.
Yeah. It's like the longer the stories went on, I was like, all right, I'm starting to get a little concerned.
Yeah.
Because
you need to read more.
Yeah, it sounds like it's starting to spread and maybe I should pay attention. Anyway.
Yeah.
There's that. So just hang on to it and hopefully nothing will come of it and we will not have a Last of Us scenario, which, come on. When is the world ever going to be that interesting?
Well, for sure, right? I mean, I could see it growing inside of you, inside and out. I just don't see it reanimating a human.
Sure.
That's all. Maybe a bug.
Maybe.
They have said but sometimes they're, I think, just moved by nerves anyway. So I don't know if they really even know what the heck's going on.
I mean, we're a pretty complicated circulatory system versus what is it that ants? Yeah.
Ants, yeah.
Anyway.
Right?
Second of all, I want to shout out Good Pods.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so I'm admitting this. So if you've listened to the show from way back, I took a dig at the site just playfully.
Yes, you did.
And I wasn't trying to say anything because they came out of nowhere and suddenly they're just like, hey, play it on this. I was like, who cares?
Come over here.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, you've got all these sites, but they were kind enough not only to feature this show, but 2 of my other shows as well this week.
Nice.
So we got a lot of love this week on their recommended pages. So I'm grateful. Furthermore, since I decided to look into it a little bit deeper, because again, I've created an account, but it was to kind of claim my pods and then just kind of let it go. Now I decided, well, let me look into it a little bit more. Let me see what this platform is. Now, I've tried to listen to podcasts on the app, but I'm kind of already used to this one thing I'm using that you're asking me to use this other thing, and it doesn't seem as simplistic and intuitive and
and old habits die hard.
Right.
So you got a thing that's working for you. You almost don't want to switch it up,
Sure. So
at least for me.
I'm gonna try to listen to pods on there every now and again, just to kind of show that I'm utilizing the platform.
Sure.
But as I was looking through, I'm going to do a little something that we haven't done in a while. I'm going to shout out some peoples who were nice enough to rate our podcast on the platform and give them a little love. So if you are unfamiliar with who they are, but for some, I just got this gut feeling that they're kind of all in the same circles and stuff like that.
All intertwined.
Perhaps I could be wrong because some of the names are very familiar to me and others maybe not so much, but I still want to shout them out because apparently a lot of them have podcasts too. So if you're interested, you can go listen to their stuff. First of all, Eric Slater and Zach Derby.
Well, you should be listening to them already. They're just lovely humans, and we've said it a million times.
We have. They're our podcast cousins over there. Probably work. They did a Super Mario Brothers movie commentary for the original film, which I was going to be a part of, but I blanked.
Oh no.
Yep, I forgot what day it was. I wasn't paying attention. I was playing video games with my wife. So
that's probably something I would do.
Yeah. So
once it's out of my sight.
Yep.
It's gone, man.
I blanked. So sorry, guys.
Sorry.
But they said they had fun.
Supposed to be me too. I don't remember half the time.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those Patreon things. So, you go listen to their stuff. They know who they are. We know who they are.
They know who they are.
2 other names, which I know that we've heard via Zach. I've seen him on Twitter, which is Neatcast J and Mike Belfance from the Neatcast. They were kind enough to give us that beautiful 5 stars over there. Appreciate it. Then Nick Bartle. Oh shit! All right, dude. I'm gonna try not to botch your name.
Well.
Nick Di Bartolomeo.
Bartolomeo?
I'm
not looking at it, so I can't help.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick. I probably botched your name. Di Bartolomeo.
Oh, there was more after Bartolo or Bartolomo?
No. This is his last name. I'm enunciating. Di Bartolomeo. Meo. Like M-E-O. I'm sorry. I
Nick
can't.
B. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Nick. Thank you. He is the director of the QTB network with podcasts like Quit the Build and Gotta Watch. Then there's Aaron Clausen, and I'm putting the emphasis on Clausen, like it's what's the name of the pickle?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of spelt like Clausen.
The Vlasic.
Vlasic pickle.
Jesus, how? It's probably in my refrigerator right now.
Probably.
And I can't even remember. I can see the label in the bird.
Mm-hmm. Got you a Vlasic pickle?
Vlasic? I think
Vlasic
that's right.
pickle. Anyway, he is he has his podcast is Super Pod Saga, where they quote, are looking over every video game topic in existence.
Ooh.
So they're going an extra mile than we are. So good for them.
Yeah. Good luck.
Bill Barber, he has the 3DO experience and gaming and collecting, looking back on the games that shaped us. Those are his 2 podcasts.
Oh, fun.
So go check that out. Christopher Love, Filthy, and that's like Phil, the name Phil. Filthy's Elden Ring Stings.
Phil.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's cute.
Filthy's Elden Ring Stings and WTF DYW.
Yeah, that could be a good topic, actually.
Mm-hmm. So there's 2 more podcasts for you to go check out. Not take him out. I didn't tell you to go kill him. It's okay.
No.
Then there's Ashley. I didn't get a last name on Ashley, but she has the Wallflower Dog Mom and Marriage podcast. Or wait a minute. Hold on. I think the ampersand threw me off. Okay, it's Wallflower and Dog Mom, or Wallflower Dog Mom podcast.
Like that's the description of Ashley.
That is her first podcast.
Oh. Okay.
That is an actual podcast, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Because I think it was clickable. Because I wrote them down like they were clickable. And Marriage, Hauntings, and Murder is also the other podcast. So if I'm wrong about the first part, I apologize. I didn't look at it close enough, but I thought I did because I thought it had a link, like a clickable link.
Like you push on it and it
Yes.
goes, here's the podcast.
Then podcaster Yeti Yef, who I know I've interacted with several times on
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
like
on
I've seen the name around.
Twitter. Their podcast 8750, or they may say it like 8750, which 8750 just rolls off the tongue better.
8750.
Yeah, 8750. That could be it too. I don't know. 8675309. See, we both went there. So go check out Yeti. He's a lot of fun on Twitter. Always posting up some interesting pictures and whatnot and asking questions like, what do you think when you see this? Or things of that nature. So
okay.
A lot of fun. Then finally, I don't have any podcast with this listener, Saran Poo. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Also a lovely person that just liked our podcast. So to everyone who I just listed, thank you for giving us love over there at Good Pods. We're trying our best to do
That's a lot
what
of
we
names
do.
I don't know. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Absolutely. See, we finally got some names. We're sitting there talking about who's listening. Well, now we know.
To go to Good Pods. See what we would have.
And another interesting thing that I've learned as well, I guess the new Spotify or Anchor or podcast for Anchor. That's another thing. Anchor has now, I can't even remember what the hell it's called anymore. It's no longer Anchor. Okay, we're no longer hosted by Anchor. It's like Spotify for podcasters. Like that makes it any better.
Oh, so Spotify bought Anchor or took it or whatever?
Well, they had when we joined, they were already kind of part of Spotify. It was like Anchor, and we're part of Spotify and whatever. And it's like, okay, great. But for some reason, when you go to log in now, there were 3 other platforms, I guess, that they had gobbled up. And they said, now we're going to, if you came from here, here, or here, well, now you're here in this thing.
Yeah.
So it's no longer
To be fair,
Anchor.
I use Spotify more than, maybe it's just old habits die hard for me too.
No.
Like once I moved on from Pandora, it finally pulled me away from that.
But I get it. I mean, it's understandable, the ease of use and whatnot. And I do kind of like it myself.
Sometimes they put together really nice mixes for me, and I'm like, damn, you pay attention. Spotify, you know me.
I try to do those mixes every now and again because sometimes you're reminded of a song.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, dude, I remember that jam. And you're just like, yeah. And you're just in it, you know what I'm saying? So
sometimes they really do it right, man.
Yeah.
My summer whatever from one time, I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. GG, well done.
And also another detail I want to point out, since we have an interesting mix of listeners as far as age range.
Okay.
Okay. So 5% of our audience are under 18, which
well, welcome.
which is
I don't know why I said it like that. Like, nah.
oh, but but I mean that's a little understandable. We're not really catering to the youth.
Yeah. Well, maybe we don't know.
Maybe we don't know.
Maybe our tomfoolery does resonate young.
Who knows? It may.
Welcome in.
But
Or they're just mature for their age.
could be. And 15% would be between 18 and 22, 25% 23 to 27, 20% 28 to 34, 15% 35 to 44, which is, maybe our age group. Maybe. I said maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then lastly, 20% 45 to 59.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have anybody over 60 yet, but maybe we'll get there
they're
one
busy
day.
playing their games. I don't know.
Perhaps. But I just wanted to kind of look at that. 45%, I think this is the other part of it that's very interesting. 45% are male, 40% female, and 15% non-binary.
Welcome in, everyone.
Yeah. So we have a wide swath of people listening.
Good.
We have an interesting mix. It's not just one or the other, and I like that. I think that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So
Welcome on in, people. I mean, I was happy to hear that, the women were higher up, too. I was hoping you were going to be like 10%. I'd be like, hey, come on, chicas, we got this. No.
40%.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Split.
Yeah, that's really good. So I went to look at our poll that I mentioned last week. No one voted.
Neither did I. I'm a jerk.
But you said what you thought.
That's true.
You didn't have to vote. You
I
told
didn't have to
everybody
vote.
what you thought of the show.
That's true.
But, hey, you know what? Maybe.
Hey, we did hear in our Discord, though.
We did.
You could join in there, we have lively conversations chatting about the pod, usually the next day and thereafter.
Especially when someone has a strong opinion about one thing that we've said or another. And,
sure.
It's not just Dava. I know we keep saying that Dava likes to break down
he's
everything.
Our Ask Dava.
Yeah.
Like, he's, an offshoot, I guess, that we've bullied him into. Somehow.
But Jed and Eric, they're, they like to bring up interesting topics every now and again or point out little things that we've spoken about. So the conversation is lively. You can all just join on in. I'm part of so many Discords that I don't even chat in. It's ridiculous. And it's nothing personal.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's just sometimes you walk in. It's like like going out to a party. If you don't know anybody, you're just like, you put out feelers and you want to chime in, but then you feel like you're going to be the outcast or people are like, I don't want to listen to you. So then you get it in your head. It's like, well, I just won't say anything at all. And then that'll just show them.
Right? Because they're all thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a social inept quirk that I can't help. Anyway.
Well, I think a lot of people have that. Like, we're the center of our own universe, right? So kind of hard sometimes to think outside of it. Of course, other people are thinking about me right now. I'm so important.
Obviously.
Right?
What you been playing?
Ooh, okay. Well, first though, there's one show I want to ask if you watched because I thought this was completely cute and adorable and funny, and I had just such a good time. Agent Elvis on Netflix.
I saw the trailer, but I have yet to watch it. So is it worth watching?
I liked it. It took a couple episodes, but when I looked at the star power, that was the first thing that kind of was like, really interesting. And to see that Priscilla was involved, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a closer look at this. And it's completely like a retelling of Elvis's life as if he were, a secret spy agent. Also singer, still king of rock and roll and everything. They even have his monkey Scatter in there as one of his sidekicks to help him. And yeah, it's just a completely over the top, ridiculous Matthew McConaughey voices Elvis. And you even have Don Cheadle in there, Caitlin Olsen. Like, I was reading all of them like, man, okay. You know, where'd they come from? It was hilarious. By the end of it, I was just rolling. It's so ridiculous and over the top. So it's definitely not Elvis's life. So don't, he's still a singer, but, everything else is pretty ridiculous and over the top. But I enjoyed it. So it was like 8, 9 episodes. I don't even think it was that many. And they're only about 30 minutes each. So I do recommend it.
Okay.
It was, I had a good time. First couple episodes, it took a minute to kind of set itself up. But then after that, like the jokes and everything and the time, like, well done. Well done.
Interesting. Okay.
Well done. So, yeah, I just wanted to see if you would watch that because I know sometimes you'll check out the new stuff that drops to Netflix within the couple of weeks it's on there. So,
yeah, it did catch my eye because I was like, what is this insanity? And then I was just like, well, maybe I'll put a pin in it. I'll come back around because I wanted to kind of get some, a little feedback just from people to kind of get a vibe because sometimes you look at it and you're just like, yeah, maybe. And then you hear that it's terrible or something and you're just like, oh,
right.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
If it wasn't for the star power, I don't know if I would have clicked on it because as soon as I saw Don Cheadle, like after I read them all, I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I love Don Cheadle. Niecy Nash.
Ah, nice.
I mean, hello. She's hilarious, I think, too. So, yeah, I think you just had a lot of really good people, good writers. And the fact that Priscilla was on board, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it, Yeah. So just knowing she part created this ridiculous story about her, former husband is kind of entertaining to me also, but anyway, yeah, check it out. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you thought it was as enjoyable as I found it, especially once we got the story moving and I knew what was going on. I'm like, this is great. Anyway, what have I been playing? It really just more Circus Electrique and some more Oxygen Not Included. I didn't get as into it as I wanted to because I had some other stuff going on the other day, but the new DLC for Not for Broadcast dropped.
Oh.
As we all know, one of my favorite all-time FMVs. Super excited. So I had that downloaded. It's what I was getting so mad about Steam. I don't understand it. It's the one place that I download things at a snail's pace. I have a gig internet. I download from anywhere else and it's pretty quick. I mean, if you have like 20, 30, 40 gigs, I might be waiting a couple minutes, but I mean, 11 megabits.
Yeah.
I was like, an hour to download 6 gigs? You've got to be kidding me. I cleared my download cache. I switched servers to different places to see if that would fix it. I did all of these little hits. Nothing. Steam, fix your shit, man.
You're kidding.
How the hell is it taking me an hour to download that? Jesus H. So anyway, by the time it finished and stuff that I had to do, I was like, damn it, I didn't really get to play any. So Steam, what's up? I was checking other things just to see too. I'm like, it is AT&T. Did they poop?
Right.
But no. And then that was about it because I actually played board games with the hubs this weekend. We played Hunt to Killer.
Look at you.
I know. We solved it.
Nice.
Yeah. That's kind of fun. I recommend that too. I noticed they're starting to sell them in like Targets and stuff.
Huh.
So you could go buy like a 1 box set. I don't know if Katrina's into that like murder mystery stuff. And you sit there. They send you like real pieces of evidence too. That's kind of useful. And that was fun because I got one that had 6 boxes that supposedly you're supposed to get once a month, but I just bought it on sale all together and then we played them in order. But yeah, we had like a nice beanie and there was one of the evidence, a flask. There was a compass. There was like some stuff like, I don't know that you would use it a lot, but
never know.
Decent stuff that was in there,
Huh.
And then a really good notebook I'm just going to finish using because why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the notebook. But yeah, so that's what I did. We played board games, kind of a board game, I guess, if you will. There's no board, but you've got all the stuff out and you're reading the evidence and trying to piece together who is the murderer and going online for stuff too. They even had a website for us to watch things. It was cute. I thought it was funny. Anywho, what have you been playing?
Well, I had kind of a busy play week this week because I took your advice and I played It Takes Two.
Oh, yay!
And let me tell you, so it won Game of the Year last night, right? Or last year, right?
It did, yes.
I know I was advocating for God of War.
Uh-huh.
But kind of see why it did.
You did? All right. I was getting nervous there with your face.
No, it was
I don't know where he's going.
so much fun. we did finish it. We played it from beginning to end. We finished it. So I can say with 100% certainty, because I was even curious how the story was going because of how they laid so much of it out. But there's such growth with the characters that feels natural. And spoilers for anybody who doesn't want to listen, because I just want to touch on a few little details. So if you've never played it and you're just like, I don't want to hear about it, but I don't feel like it's anything huge. But essentially the story, if you're unfamiliar, is you have a couple who have just grown apart.
Kind of disconnected.
Yeah. They're I think the wife filed for divorce. They're just, they think there's nothing that can be done. So their daughter kind of does a wish thing, and she has these two little dolls, and then they become those dolls. And then they have to learn to work together to fix the relationship. That's the basic premise of the entire game. And there were moments in it when you see how they're trying to fix this problem, and you're thinking, what is wrong with you people? This is why this isn't working, because they're like, we've got to make our daughter cry. What are we going to do? We're going to kill her stuffed animal. And you're like, this is terrible. What are you doing?
I actually, when we were playing that, even the hubs looked at me and goes, I don't know that I want to do this. And I'm like, me either.
Right.
It just feels like such a jerk move to do. Like your own daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. So little things like that I felt like were great story beats, because they put you in this situation where the parents are just so dense about the whole thing. They're not thinking about what they're doing to her, which is a nice reflection of what they are doing in real life. Right. So there were just a lot of little moments like that. And then you'd see them sniping at each other, throughout the story. But the farther in you go, it starts to become less and less. And it's never like a turn, like immediately, suddenly it's just like, well, I'm not going to insult you anymore. You can just kind of see it like evolve. Like they start to think a little bit more about what they were going to say. And it's just like, yeah. And then even when they make points where you feel like they're going back to sniping one another, they're actually making some pretty valid points. And no one person is at fault. They're both at fault. They can sit there and say,
it takes two.
Exactly.
Some might say.
So all these little things that you pick up on as you're playing and as you're watching all this unfold, this is why it got Game of the Year. Because it is so expertly crafted in every sense of the word, from the story to even the worlds in which you inhabit and you have to explore.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it was fun and interesting, and each stage was just enough different from each other to make you feel like you were exploring so many areas.
Yes. All the changes in gameplay, the changes in how you approach certain things. I mean, granted, there's the basic gameplay that you have, but then they add extra elements that change how you approach the puzzles or the area. I want them to do more games like this.
I do too, because this is their second, I think, where you have to play co-op. Yes, please. More. Because I enjoy not necessarily having to have that split screen or anything. And sometimes it would, of course, when you had to do your thing or whatever.
Sure.
But for the most part, I just played seamless when you were together like that. So I hope they do, because finally some games I can play with the hubs too. And
they're good. They're solid. So I really hope that they make this their niche. This becomes their thing. It's like, we want to do 2-player games, whether it's online or couch, doesn't matter. We want to make these where you have to play together. I don't know what more.
I like cooperative.
Yes, and cooperative.
Yeah.
So it's just such a great. It's so good. So
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. I kind of had a feeling you would, but you never know.
It was like I wasn't sure and how it was going to play out, and I wasn't sure if she was going to get into it.
Sure.
But there were moments where she would hand me her controller, and be like, "Please do this, because this is not my strong suit." And they're making me do that. And that was another thing I enjoyed as well, is how do I put this? I guess your preconceived notions about who should be what in certain scenarios. So like, I think there was one area, I think it's where you got all the magic castle stuff. So I was like the male, the father, the dad, he was the wizard, and she was the big knight with the swinging sword. All those little preconceived notions. Well, obviously the man would be the knight, and then she would be the wizard. They flipped every time. They did the opposite of what you assume it should be. And I was like, good. You know, I like that. So
anybody can do this stuff. Yeah.
And I felt like it put her, like Katrina, in a situation where she had to come out of her comfort zones a little bit, you know, about her strengths and weaknesses. And same with me, you know, if there was something I was like, you know, this isn't really my strong suit. But I also, one thing that I had to do, which you are aware that I have this habit of doing, is when you're playing together, I have to slow down.
Yes, you do.
I have to slow down because sometimes I would run ahead and then I'd be like, I was like, gotta wait. Because I platform without thinking. It's just like boop, 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 and I'm there. And then I'm turning around and I'm waiting on everybody else. It's like, okay, gotta wait.
Yeah.
So
we're trying.
I know.
We're trying to get there.
I have it's so ingrained in my DNA that I'm just trying to get everything done. And sometimes when I get cocky about it, it throws off my rhythm.
So she gets to yell at you about it too. Like, will you just wait for me?
Yeah.
A minute. I'm coming.
But she did it. She would do it to me on occasion. Like I would make one little mistake, and next thing I know, she's like a mile down the road. I'm like, where are you going? Just wait.
Good for you.
But but we still want to play it a little bit more. Like we did finish it, but we want to kind of go back. We missed a few of the little games that you could find along the way and things like that.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of go back and do that, and then
I'm not sure that we did all of those either.
There were some
Since
that
it wasn't
just
necessary on some of them, but you know, just for funsies. But I don't think we did them all either.
Yeah, there were some that were just way off the beaten path. That's probably why we missed them, because we would explore and just try to see if we could find them. But some of the others that we did find an Easter egg to the first game, A Way Out. They were like two little figurines, and we came across them once before.
I think I might remember this.
But we didn't realize what we needed to do in the moment, because there were two little figurines in Rose's room, and they're kind of tucked away off into a little area, and then you both like ground pound on the buttons, and then they'll have a conversation like from that game. Oh. And I thought, that's pretty neat. So it's pretty cool. But
I don't remember. It's been a bit now. I don't remember all of it, but yeah.
But also, once I got done doing that, I thought, well, I need a new game to play. So I started looking around. I did download and prepare, because I've been talking about this for so long, and I still have his copy of Resident Evil 8. I'm going to get to it because I know 4 just came out and everyone's talking about it. And even Todd said, are you going to go get it? And I'm like, I still have your 8 I'd have to play. It's like, so I put it in just to be like, it's in the machine. It's going to be staring at me, being like, play me, please.
Right.
So I haven't forgotten it. So I'm going to get that. But I didn't play that because I played, hopefully I'm going to say this right, Chia.
Oh, yes.
The new game that came out on PlayStation. That was free if you're part of the PlayStation Plus. When I started playing it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But I think this is also something I'm trying to put into my head as every time you start a new game, you've got to find your footing to find out if you're going to enjoy it. And before I knew it, I had played from noon to damn near 7 o'clock that evening.
Oh, damn.
Because I was just, they gave me carte blanche to explore. And perhaps maybe I don't need to explore as much. Maybe I need to, do story. But they were just like, go.
Play how you want.
Yeah, go explore. Go do whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I just trotted off and explored.
Off you go. Yeah.
It's such a relaxing, calm, fun game to just explore,
Nice.
Like there's Nothing feels like there's any kind of agency, like you're being attacked or, just like you're going to die.
Pressing,
it's
tense.
Yeah, nothing really like that. I mean, granted, now, story-wise, I haven't really explored deep enough. I did get to a certain point in the story which unlocked more things to find. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, shit. Well, maybe I need to explore a little and then do the story and then come back to that. And then there's this other problem that I'm coming into contact with, which I wish I had a place to store some of my stuff because you have a bag. And I have come across races. I've come across these little slingshot challenges. I have a backpack full of gold trophies. And to the point where it's like, if you get another one, you're going to have to drop this. And I actually had to do that. I didn't know they were meant for something. I thought, okay, well, I win it and I get a gold trophy. So that's just prove that I did it, right?
It is, yeah.
I'm assuming they're items for use elsewhere, because I was doing this one slingshot challenge in this city, and it was like in a junkyard, okay? And I was trying to get the gold, and I kept getting silver, I kept getting bronze, and I was like, I don't have room. So there was a truck sitting next to me, and I just started chucking them all in the truck because I was like, I don't know what to do. With these, because I don't have room in my bag. So I set them there and I said, I'll worry about it later. So I've gotten a lot, but I don't know what, I've lost a few in the river.
Oh no.
Because I didn't have room, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So I've stopped doing challenges until I can figure out what to do with what I've got.
Right. Yeah.
They're not going anywhere, but the game itself, like it pays homage to several Zelda games, or at least that's how I'm seeing it. You have the Wind Waker, because you have a boat or a little raft in which you can get from one edge to another, which I don't really feel like it's a necessity to the gameplay as of yet. Like you can explore kind of this little patch of the ocean in which you're playing in, because there's really only 2 islands. From what I've seen, it feels expansive, but it's nice that it's kind of small too. You know what I mean? You've got 2 islands to explore. They're big enough. It doesn't feel like Far Cry 6 where you're just like, there's just so much, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
It's just like, here's an island. There's plenty to explore, but it's not going to take you 100, 200 hours to do it.
That's okay.
And I'm perfectly fine with it. It's the right size for me right now. I don't need anything bigger, but like I said, the Wind Waker has that element, plus where you can kind of float off your little, I don't know what you call it.
Oh yeah, like kind of parachute, but
kind of like the Wind Waker, kind of like Breath of the Wild. The Wild, it does have like this climb mechanic where you can, like you have a stamina meter and you can just climb up stuff.
Right.
There's, I'm trying to think of other things. The biggest mechanic, which I wouldn't say is a Zelda mechanic per se, but another Zelda mechanic would be your ukulele. You can play tunes, which changes the time of day, gives you boosts, whatnot. So that kind of has that Ocarina of Time wand thing. The musical stuff that you do in Zelda. But the one element that is unique to the game is soul jumping. You can possess animals, inanimate objects, and just, have fun.
Anything you want?
Anything. Well, mostly anything you want. Now,
organic.
I'd say you can possess a rock. You can possess a banana. You can possess a crab, a seagull, a shark. These are just a handful that I've come across.
So is it kind of like a puzzle on how to complete whatever it is in that area?
Not necessarily
set to one way.
No, not necessarily, because I think it's just a way of, like, you can approach certain situations with these animals, or you can just use them to get wherever you need to get faster. Because sometimes you're sitting on the beach and you look up and you're like, I got to climb that mountain.
Bird.
Yeah, bird.
Yeah.
And then there you go.
Yeah.
It makes it that simple. But like every other game, it's not just, hey, I can possess whatever and stay as that thing for long. You have a meter.
Oh, sure.
So eventually it'll go down. I did some underwater treasure hunting and got dicey there for a minute because, the treasures were very, very deep.
But if you're a fish, they breathe there. We're good.
I did. But I got down below and was trying to get there. And then next thing you know, it's like my meter ran out for the fish. So then I lost that and I had to get back up to the top. And luckily, they have this rock stacking game, which, again, another element that I've seen in other games. I'm not saying the game is ripping shit off. I think it's just paying homage to a lot of different ideas, which works here. But it has a rock stacking game, you know what I'm talking about, where you stack the rocks and you make a little shrine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So if you find these and you do that, then you learn a new tune. The very first one I found, I couldn't find it. I saw it on my map and I was like, where the fuck is this thing? And then I realized, I was like, it's probably underground. So there's got to be a hole somewhere to get there. So I started doing some digging and I found like this chasm that you go down. So I followed that and then I went under the water and sure enough, there sat a cave. So
nice.
I thought, that looks pretty far. Let me find a fish. Luckily I did. Swam to it, found the rock. And that very first tune that I learned gave me like a bubble to put over my head. So helped me to breathe for an extended period of time underwater. So I was like, awesome. So
there you go. Nice.
These little things will kind of give you special abilities, special powers or whatever. But the most interesting aspect of the whole game, there's so much I'm still trying to explore. I really got into it. But one aspect that I wanted to touch on that I thought was interesting is that the game starts off introducing its creator to you. It's like, hello, players. I want to, introduce myself. It's like, this is, I can't remember his name because I read it so fast. But the developer of the game pretty much stated that the game or the world in which it inhabits is part of his life. Like this was based on a place that he grew up in Africa. And the culture and everything is kind of paying homage to that. They made some obvious changes for certain reasons, for respect and whatnot, but mostly everything that you see in the game is reflective of this island in which he grew up on, the culture there, things like that. And it's just, that was kind of beautiful, to think that that's what this is. It's not just a game about this girl and her adventures, but it's a love letter to his homeland.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was wonderful. So if you have PlayStation and you can get this game, highly recommend it, especially if you love to explore like I do. It's like they understood, oh, you want to explore? Here you go. And I have done nothing but that. And I have enjoyed myself doing that.
Good.
I was really not sure I was going to like it. And the next thing I know, I was just in it. I was there for it. And I was like, yeah, I love this game.
Well, that's always a pleasant surprise,
Yeah.
especially when you're not sure going into it. And you're like, you know what? I'm glad I tried this out.
I mean, I felt like I was going to because I was keeping my eye on it the very first time I saw the trailer. And I kept watching and checking stuff out. But you never know until the moment.
Really
it's just like, okay, well. But no, I really, really do enjoy it and highly recommend it.
Excellent.
To anybody.
Yeah.
So what do you have in the way of news?
Well, we got a couple of cool things to chat about. GDC was this week. So there was a couple of tech things that I think I understand well enough to chat about and that I thought was cool that I see coming down here. And then we also had Future Game Show. So that's what we're doing today is I want to talk about some cool tech we saw at GDC and then some fun games I saw at Future Game Show. Let's just make it a complete fun light day.
All right. Sounds good.
And yeah. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of it for GDC. That some of it was streamed, but there was more showing off of the Unreal Engine 5, or well, I guess 5.2, which is what we're on or whatever. But I mean, it is looking great. So one item they were showing off was the facial animation with the metahuman and how well it captures more tiny expression details on faces in games. So they used in one of the videos Senua from Hellblade in a 1-minute video where they had the actress as Senua, then it blended into the video game version of Senua. So I don't know if you could tell in the beginning there where it was the actress and then it flashed back and forth. And I could definitely see where we're starting to move away from the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit still there. But of course, Senua's kind of creepy anyway. So I have to, is that a thing? But yeah, how far away that it's moved from that into the realism almost creeps me out.
Yeah. It was like really interesting to kind of look at because what I feel like they've nailed down, static faces, textures, the look, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, don't really, like you're kind of sure, but you're unsure.
Yeah.
It's mouth movements that I feel like are always the telltale sign at the moment.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Because every time a character starts to talk, that's when you can tell.
Right.
But beyond
something
that,
always seems to be a little too much or whatever.
Yeah, like there's too much
Overdoing
emphasis or the movements are just, they're not as subtle.
They're trying to hit it too hard, I guess, too. You know how if you were over enunciating.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Which I haven't quite figured out why they haven't nailed that down, because you see where they do mouth tracking for that very purpose. So what is it that the computer is getting wrong when someone's talking? Like, why does it?
Shadow. Well, no, they had that thing in her face. It was just super bright. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if we have any devs listening. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting.
Yeah,
we ought to.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
We should see if we could grab one of the developers who play with this Unreal Engine and see and try to understand it, because I don't know shit about it,
Yeah.
So for me, looking outside, looking in, I'm curious, why is that? Why is the mouth the dead ringer to spoil everything?
Yeah.
So
true.
You tell me what it is that you can't get right, or it's becoming
the computer is having issues with or whatever. Yeah.
Because everything else.
Yeah.
I really was not, like, you knew back of your head, you're like, yeah, this is not real, but it looks very real, and you're debating with yourself, but it's impressive as hell.
It really is, you guys. I mean, I hate Epic, but this is some cool tech. I don't know. And I'd love to hear from other developers too on how this has made their life so much easier. Does it make you sad that we're kind of moving away from, or definitely moving away from, creating all of your own assets brand new? I mean, I'm sure most companies would create their own engines for that reason, right? So they wouldn't have to be constantly remaking the same stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah. And I know we talked about the MetaHuman, I want to say in 2021 or something, when we started seeing some of the videos going around, and they were able to work with an iPhone. That's what it was toting, that the ability was going to be, that you could record someone's face on your iPhone for this, and it would render quickly and accurately, supposedly. And they did a live demonstration of that too, capturing another MetaHuman character. It's really cool. It's really cool and kind of creepy but just imagine how easily accessible this could be for a smaller team. You know what I mean? I wonder if it's more helpful for them, or if we're going to get into this trap of a lot of things looking the same. I'm wondering, like, I'm sure there's millions or thousands of assets. Y'all have to let me know, but that would be my only concern. I'm wondering if it'll get to a point where, all the trees are looking the same in every video game. All of this is like, I mean, would you really notice those things? I don't know. I mean, unless you're, Tequila Works and you want to sell over a tree. But, it's, but do you notice? I don't know that I would. But anyway, the tech's cool. If you didn't see the videos from GDC, I especially recommend watching the one with Senua. I mean, I love those games anyway. I think that actress did an amazing job portraying her in the games, and I'm super excited for the next one. So that one was really cool to watch, so I recommend it. And then, well, I'll start with this one. So there was one that they showed off, Project M. So I don't know if you had seen the video for that. It's an AI-based digital human technology from NCSoft. So it's pretty ambitious if this works exactly how I'm thinking they're trying to lead us to believe how it works. So we saw some more gameplay, and I think we were talking, or well, I don't know if we had. Project M might been hearing a little bit about for a little bit now, but we saw more gameplay, and this focus was more on the tech used to kind of show off some brand new uses for Unreal Engine 5. So they did a 3-minute trailer showing off its AI-based tech where we're moving into AI super fast here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm getting a little nervous about that too. But anyway, the tech was showing us how AI built the digital version of Tak-Shin Kim, I'm sorry, NCSoft's chief creative officer, is shown in the video, along with his voice. So he's saying AI created him and his voice in this game, in this trailer that we're watching. Voices can be changed to be more realistic, adjusted for language, accent, emotions. And then Kim also chats about, it was kind of a quote in the trailer. What would it mean to you if the world was comprised of informational particles instead of physical particles? So we're looking at this as, I think that they were trying to indicate, because you know how they're always choices matter, and it'll reshape everything around you. And it's always been kinda, but not really. We always know that we're in whatever story beat was written into the game, right? It's not going to go off the rails and do its own thing. You programmed it to do a thing. Well, this one's trying to say that it actually will reshape the world around you via this AI with choices that you make. So I would be very curious to see how this is implemented, how well it works, how fast would it render on the fly? How will it play?
Yeah.
Now, the trailer looked cool, and if you're telling me AI did all of that, all right, impressive, I don't know if he was trying to suggest that AI will remap in real time. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see how it would work, how quickly it would render, how off the rails it might go, because we keep hearing about like AI learning too much from humans and going completely off the rails and having to get shut down, because they learn only the worst parts of our human behavior. Again, I hate Epic, but this tech is cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, think about...
wish it was coming from a different place sometimes. But.
From certain games where they do the morality meter, where your choices are supposed to matter and things like that, that could be really interesting. So, say, for example, you play in a game like... I'm going to use Spider-Man for an example, because it'd be an easy one. And swinging through the city, you're doing crime, crime busting or whatever, and you saved a group of whomever, and people are like, yay, Spider-Man. But now reverse it. You fucked up. Something bad happened. And if you had just done something right, it wouldn't be your fault. Now suddenly the entire world, the citizens, the cops, they're looking at you as public enemy number one. So now it's like, what do you do? And the AI could actually do something to where you have to work twice as hard to maintain to fix that versus just doing good deeds and being on everyone's good side.
Yeah. Because imagine, we've been talking about these randomly generated things that are supposedly coming around. Like, you really wouldn't be able to learn a game.
Yeah.
In theory, because it would be... I feel like it would still have to be limited to some sort of code. I don't know. I need someone super smart in this stuff to learn how to tell it to me in, I'm not going to call myself dumb, but like in a more average person's brain where it comes to technology, where I don't wrap my head around all of the little intricacies, I would need someone to kind of break that down to me a little bit better. Like, is that even possible? Or are you just selling me another snake oil thing?
Sure. No, I get it.
With the days of GPT or Chat GPT and all this stuff that's going on now, like, I don't know. Just like trying to get rid of humans, I guess. I feel your pain, but...
Speaking of that, and I had a gut feeling as I was watching it that that's what was going on, but did you see that South Park had utilized Chat GPT to write or co-write an episode of South Park?
I couldn't even tell you the last time I watched that show.
This was
probably been about as long as it's been on.
They were doing one of their episodes, how they're always timely about everything that they do.
Yeah,
And it was about the AI generated, the kids found out about it, or I think it was, it's usually Cartman, where it
Sure.
down Butters and whomever, I don't remember who all was involved, but someone discovered Chat GPT and they're like, hey, it'll write your reports for you. Don't tell anyone. And then somebody just was like, all right, well, I'm going to tell one person. I think it was Butters had told Kyle. And then
yeah, okay.
I think Cartman and one of the other kids were aware of it. And was like, don't tell anybody else because everybody's going to find out and then we're all going to get in trouble.
Right, we're all going to have the same paper.
Eventually, the way it all goes down, of course, everybody kind of gets involved and it just blows up in everyone's face. But at the end of the episode, it said written by Trey Parker and Chat GPT, and I was like, that's pretty good.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Because would we notice sometimes? I don't know.
I know but there were were elements to it when I was watching, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny
if that's what this is? Yeah.
Because I'm getting this vibe, and sure enough, there it was, and I was like, I knew it. That's pretty clever though, using the chatbot to talk against the chatbot. So.
Oh my God, I haven't messed with that thing, but I've seen enough that I'm like, oof. I can't imagine being a teacher right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
Are these kids writing anything anymore? Oh my God, the next 20 years might be interesting. Anyway, Unity kind of did their own little teaser about their Unity AI. Not really in GDC, but tweeted whilst it was going on. So I guess I'll just kind of throw it in there.
Sure.
But their announcement, and I'm going to put it in quotes, it seems every video game history dialogue was written by somebody, right? But now you could do that with generative AI. It's to give the characters motivation, personality, objectives, and then they can spawn dialogue that doesn't require a writer. So yay, Unity's trying to get rid of humans too.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
well,
so we don't even need dev writers. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
We don't need them. Who needs humans, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft is creating one called Ghostwriter. So AI is kind of a nuisance right now. I don't know. We saw it headed this way, but
Yeah.
I feel like it is kind of overtaking. Well, I mean, I guess that's how it would do, right? As soon as you hear about it and tech starts to the pace tech moves and you let all the people in on it. And there's a lot of really smart humans out there who knows how to make this stuff work. Oofda. We'll see what's going on here soon. But yeah, seems like all of these engines and dev tools are starting to use AI. And I want some human involvement.
But think about it. Now, if EA... Activision
Theirs
Blizzard
might improve.
Well, I'm going to say Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, if they could make these AI programs make games for them, they would do it wholeheartedly. Because then they would be like, well, the computer's always going to work. It's never going to not work.
Right.
And then we won't have to worry about people complaining about
harassment.
Crunch and harassment, so it just work out better for everybody. So then we don't have to worry about sexual harassment lawsuits or people complaining that they have to work 12 hours a day. I mean, God.
What is that?
What
12 hours? Pick up your bootstraps, damn it. What
Yeah.
did you learn as a kid?
You wanted to make video games, so that's what you're here to do. Now, I'm sorry if you have a life outside this place, but you knew what you were getting into. And I understand that you're not making much more than minimum wage, but I mean, we cannot afford it.
Right.
Okay? Because I've got $2 billion I can't let go of. I can't let go of.
Shareholders really got to stay happy. So
my hands are tied.
though, right?
Yeah, my hands are tied.
Yeah.
I can't help you. I'm sorry you're struggling financially, but that's not my problem.
No.
Okay,
You
not my
have
problem.
Kids. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
So if we could just remove that element and just have a computer do everything,
Here's an idea. Why don't we just make the CEO's AI?
right? That would be nice.
I think that would be more interesting to see because I know this is going to be mean and I don't know what I'm talking about, but what is your role really, CEO?
Yeah.
I feel like yours would be easier to AI out than the entire developing team. But, that's my only opinion. Maybe you're not as intricate to the process as you think, Moneybags. But yeah, so that was kind of the cool tech that I saw come out of GDC that I wanted to chat with you about. And then future game show. So I want to talk about some of these games that I saw in there, because some of them were pretty fun. Some of them I think we're just gonna, redoing stuff we've seen before.
Yeah.
And then hold on, let me see. This might have been in GDC. I want to make sure I wrote this down correctly, because some of these games here. Anyway, some of the games that I saw this week. This one I think we'll like. Okay. And you probably might already know of its existence, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. It's a comic book series that I think was written or started in 2020 with an alternative version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're collaborating with some of the creators, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Last Ronin, a darker version, where what if only one turtle was still left and existed, and the other three were killed by foot soldiers, and that one remaining turtle takes revenge against the grandson of Shredder, who would have been, I guess, the last one responsible for, the death of his brothers. And now we're hearing it's turned into a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a kind of cool concept where I feel bad I never went and read these books. I feel like I heard of them, but never really dug into it. And then as I'm rereading this premise, wholly different than what we've played before in the Turtle universe,
Yeah.
They may make an appearance in some form as a flashback dream sequence. They were saying with the other brothers, that gets killed. So you might see them still in some form or fashion. It's pretty much all we know right now, but it intrigues me.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they are going to follow the story beats, because I've not read it. It is actually something I was keeping my eye on because I wanted to read it when I heard about it. And I was waiting to see if I could just get a trade paperback whenever it comes out. Because the concept, the idea, the story, I mean, that's wholly original. Trying to think, okay, well, what way could you tell the story? Now, the big question that was always popping up was, who is this turtle?
Right.
And that's something I'm curious, because the information would technically be out there right now. So do you tell the same story with that turtle, or do you twist it? Because
reportedly that turtle will be able to use all of the weapons that all four of them would have used if they were together. So this turtle supposedly has all of their fighting styles, I guess, that you can.
But that's cool. That's a great way to approach it, because that way everyone can still play their favorite turtle.
Right.
And if you don't want to have the story spoiled, you use that to be like, well, you can use this, you can use that, you can use that, but we're still not going to tell you who it is. And then you leave that mystery until the end. Like, I think I know who it is based on some information that I had, but I'm not going to say it here.
I only had one guess for someone who would have been like, the temperament the whole time to be the last one taken out, I felt was Raphael.
Sure, yeah.
That, he would like to run off by himself anyway, because he'd always get angry. So I could see him being the one to do that. Three brothers, got killed. He comes back after his, attitude fit, and then they're dead. I don't know. Just a guess. I honestly have no clue. That's all the information that was like in black and white that I could read that's confirmed. So the whole Raphael is just a guess on my part.
But no, that was a surprising announcement, and I'm all for it.
I want to keep my eye on that for sure, and especially knowing that a couple of the original creators are involved. That always makes me more excited if you're letting the source also be involved.
Sure.
Another game I saw on there, I'm on the fence about it, but I think we might have some listeners that might enjoy it. From Mike Blithel's studio, called The Banished Vault. It looks like it's a new strategy game. Watching the trailer, it looks like it plays kind of like a board game, but the strategy is you being in command of a, quote, space-borne monastery that's fleeing from a mysterious galaxy-consuming event. So when I was like, okay, so you would scavenge materials if needed. You can I think when you're watching it, that it shares so many different aspects of other kind of strategy games that I've seen before, that when they were meshing them all together seemed kind of interesting to me, because you'd have this portion where it seems like you'd be kind of looking at your cards or whatever skills that you were going through and still having to move through the galaxy, and making those choices and things as you go along the way. So I don't know. It looked like a cool game. I'm not sure if it was one that I necessarily would like, but I felt like we'd have some people that might actually be interested in that type of game as I was watching the trailer. So if you like strategy games, The Banished Vault, I thought it looked cool. I don't know if you're looking at it, if that looks like something you'd even...
Maybe. I don't know if it's necessarily, but again, sometimes a game can surprise me.
Yeah, sometimes if I just make myself sit down and do a thing, we will have fun. So we also had from MetaQuest. I'm sorry that but they showed off Spatial Ops, which was kind of a neat concept. It was their MR shooter, their first-person shooter, played in the Quest headset, of course. It does mix your reality with the elements of what kind of resembled paintball to me. People were using their headset around an office in this trailer, so you could see it's through their pass-through technology, so you can still see the world around you, but the MR has put up things that you could duck behind to shoot or things to take cover around. So they've placed that elements around your real world through the pass-through camera, so you can still see what's going on when you're running around playing, shooting each other. But you can use real objects in the world and all supposedly to room scale. So it's kind of cool if it works well. I hate praising anything Zuckerfuck, but I mean, it did kind of look... Yeah, I could see that being fun if you are one of those people who knows a bunch of people with a VR headset. I don't know if that's super common now, although I think the Quest is actually making it way more common.
All right. Because
I mean, it's cordless.
Which is ideal.
You need a PC. So I feel like I hate him. I hate him. But I feel like we are getting more VR in the hands of people because of that tech. I mean,
sure.
It's just so much more simpler to have than a beefy PC or a console. You can just buy that and be done. So I get it. I get it. This one, though, I thought we would like.
Okay.
It's called Animal Well. It's from Big Mode Games. It's the first game that was announced from this team. So it's considered a Metroidvania, but made from one developer. So that's why I was like, one person, Billy Blasso. So it has like a blob looking like protagonist as it explores the world around with all of the threats that are happening around you. Like a lot of avoiding creatures, some puzzles, things of that nature. So I think maybe that's where they were talking about like the Metroidvania type stuff. It didn't seem super fast paced, but just all of the different things that you're going to have to work around and not get hit and dive around. And no release date as of yet. It looks like you could wishlist it on Steam right now, so you could be notified as soon as it was. I wanted to bring it up because I thought maybe you might think it was cool. It doesn't look as fleshed out as some of the other ones that I've seen you play, but one person, it looked kind of neat. Who knows? Looked like it might be cool.
I mean, looking at it right now, I can see the appeal. It might be something worth looking into.
I don't know if anybody knows who this is. I want to say as I was reading through this, it was from Big Mode Games was from a YouTuber called Donkey that was starting. Team, so I think that's what this is.
Yeah, I watched Donkey.
It's the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
Big Mode, I think, was his, and this is the first one that he's publishing.
That's right.
So,
I even remember him talking about Big Mode, and I thought, okay, cool. I probably heard about this, and it just... I didn't connect those dots until just now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, with the mix of GDC and that going on this week, that's how this kind of flew in my through in my eyesight. But yeah, check it out. I mean, I always want to support a smaller team. One dude, grats, man. Get a whole thing done. I don't care. You finish it all on your own. This one looked cool if I'm understanding the concept correctly.
Okay.
It might just be a gimmick to use at the GDC floor itself. But there's a game called Haberdasher that was showcased in the Control Alt GDC exhibition. So this exhibit is kind of where devs show off very untraditional controllers for video games. So there was this one co-op game called Haberdasher created by PhD candidate at the Georgia Institute of Tech. Just felt like I had to say that. You play as an alien trying to blend in with the world around you, but your controls is an enormous hat. And I'm not lying. It's one giant hat. You and your partner are under this giant hat. I'm not joking. Like, you have to hold it like this above your head. And you and your partner will have to work together to move the hat, which also moves the character. So inconvenient, but it looked kind of cool. Like, just like a giant bowler hat. Is that what you call those with the big round top?
Bowler hat?
Bowler, maybe that's it. A bowler hat. But Haberdasher with a giant hat. I'm sure it was just a gimmick for the GDC floor because I cannot figure out
because
how
I'm not
this would be
seeing anything.
useful.
Like,
it would take up your whole house, man.
I don't know if I'm looking at the same game that you're talking about.
Haberdasher.
Haberdasher. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
There's a game that's popped up, but this doesn't sound like the one you're describing.
Oh, maybe I'll send you the little thingy then.
Yeah, you may have to because I'm confused.
I'm pretty much like I think it's just a part of the show floor where they're like, look at what ridiculous thing I could make into a controller. And then you just get to play with them as, just for funsies on the floor.
But even as you described what you described, it seems like this should be the game. Because it says it's kind of inspired by the borrowers.
Alien blending co-op hat controller. Here, I'll send you this link right here because it'll show you the person under the hat.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous. So you and your teammate will have to be under this hat like that and control your alien character.
See, no, it sounds like this could possibly be the one. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure when you play it at home, you're not going to use a big hat like that. Because where the hell would you keep something that size?
Okay, so...
And the feather. Oh, I didn't notice the little feather in the cap.
All right, so Haberdasher is the name of the
game itself. Oh.
Is it the controller or the game? Or I'm so confused.
It was the name of the game. And then they break down how they made the hat.
That is just insane.
Unless maybe you'll get like a small hat that you could buy at home and you're just doing this around your house or whatever. But I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious to watch these two people. There was a video also them just trying to balance themselves under this hat and moving the alien throughout. It was just funny to me.
Bizarre.
I don't know. You steer alien invaders with a massive co-op hat controller. I don't know. That's what we talk about, right? Mm-hmm. Cool shit. And you're playing a video game with it, so here you go. Then one other thing here before we move into the future game show that I saw in GDC. NVIDIA demonstrated its new RTX path tracing tech on a new build of Cyberpunk. I know, right? But, I mean, it is a gorgeous, well-built game once we now got it all working the way it should. But path tracing is now supposedly the next step in our ray tracing processes here, as it replicates the real world behavior of how light passes through and around objects, either still or in motion. So showing us how much more precise reflections, shadows, things of that nature can really be. Just overall more pretty, I guess.
Okay.
Just more pretty. So it's improving its ray tracing by using DLSS 3.0. I know we've all been hearing about that now with the new stuff coming around. And the video that I watched said the footage was captured on an RTX 3080. You could tell it was cleaned up for sure. I mean, I feel like it was almost clearer than what I would see in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I would have to go look in a puddle again, I guess, to be sure if I'm so clearly looking into a mirror, with all of that. But when they were doing the side-by-sides, I mean, to me, yeah, it looked better. But then when you're showing me the first one, that still looked really good.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know. maybe I'm just not as picky with how my games look, but I mean, I'll give it to them. It did look cool. It did look good. It looked clean. Looked very clean. It just was.
I don't know.
I don't know what else to say about how cool it's all starting to look and everything right now. So go check out that video because it does do a really nice side-by-side of what it looked like, before the path tracing and then turning it on. Sorry, I think I punched my microphone again, guys. I talk too much with my hands. So I don't know. I say look it up because it was super great looking graphics and it's just cool what we're moving into now. Some other games. Let's see. Okay. At the Future Game Show, I just kind of want to complain about this a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm still not understanding. So I watched the trailer for VR, Hello Neighbor. Okay. Search and Rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the trailer looks good. Their trailers always look good, right? But every time I've tried to play one of these games, it works out after a while. Like it's constant learning of your motion. If you're not good, let's just say it that way. If you're not good and you're constantly getting caught and he's learning and doing all that kind of stuff, the game will get so ridiculously unplayable by the end. And the second one, I tried a little bit of the demo. Same thing. I can't imagine trying to do this in VR.
No, absolutely not.
I feel like I'd get so sick to my stomach. I don't know. But it looked exactly like the first game, kind of, with the graphic style, the house that you were wandering around in and everything. I don't know. Watching the trailer, it seems like it was the same story beats. I guess it's a franchise now. I don't know. I guess I missed how popular the game really was. And I just keep seeing them making new versions of this game. So I guess it has to be selling well and I'm missing something. Because I just couldn't play it.
Yeah, no, it's not something I personally can endorse as being fun. I tried it. I gave it the old college try as best I could, and there's just something about it that I don't like when games punish me for playing the way I do. I made a mistake, and now I'm being punished for it.
Yeah, I can't do that same thing again or try it again to see if it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember most of my frustrations just trying to figure out how I was supposed to get back inside and stacking boxes and thinking I could, manipulate something in the world to get me back up there, but then he'd still come running out. So I don't know. I can't imagine trying to do it in VR. If you have VR, if you like the game and you play it, let me know. But I just feel like, I don't know. Anyway, one that actually looked intriguing to me. We saw the launch trailer for Ravenbound, which was like a semi-open world roguelite, because I know you love those, Steven.
Sure.
So I wanted to put it. With deck building parts, of course. So it intrigued me. I'm back and forth on it. Like, I think it's going to be for me, but I'm still not quite sure. The lore in the game might be intriguing. So that's where I think that kind of sucked me in a little bit more because of the lore behind it seems sort of kind of different. I mean, I think everything's Lovecraftian type or whatever anymore. Anyway, we've talked about that at length. But yeah, I always want to highlight something a little bit new. So go check that one out. Okay. This one I kind of want to play. And it's so against what I would normally play that I think it's kind of funny. Did you see the trailer for Wrestle Story?
Wrestle Story. That sounds familiar, as if
it just looks
possibly
like a ridiculous good time. So it's an RPG wrestling-ish kind of story game where you create your own character. You don't even need to build your own tag team. You could explore the world around you. You have little mini games. It's just so much stuff going on, and also being a wrestler, and the graphic and art style of it was so fun looking that it just looks like it would be a lot of fun just to play through one time. There was lots of different mini games, story that you're following, action beats when you're wrestling, QTEs, overall tomfoolery, and the graphic style looked fun. I just think this one would be fun. I don't know if it's a replayable over and over type thing, but for once through, it looks like it might be a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I could see myself trying it out.
I mean, I started to get like maybe a little Guacamelee vibes in the beginning. you know? But then as it was moving through with the trailer and just seeing all the different kinds of stuff that you're focusing on whilst also becoming a wrestler and building your wrestling team, I just thought it seemed like fun and a different mashup of genres than I've seen before. So Wrestle Story, I think I'm going to have to keep an eye on that one. It just looks like tomfoolery, good time. Okay, hopefully you saw this one. Telltale series The Expanse we got a deeper look at.
Did? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a 4-minute chat about their newest Choose Your Own Adventure type game based on the books, but probably more the Amazon series of The Expanse, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe they're both the same. I never watched the show. Sorry. I know it's great. I've heard so many amazing things, and I've seen the outcry of people calling Amazon just the biggest freaking morons for even canceling it because it was such an amazing show that a lot of people were watching. I don't know. I don't know.
Understand that wholeheartedly. What was I watching? Shit. There was something I was watching this week that was on Netflix, and I was like, you're
gonna like
I'm
it.
I'm worried.
Cancel it.
Because I'm just like, this is really good, and it could really just be solid, and I really hope that they allow it to breathe, but, Christ, I can't even remember what it was.
I feel like some shows I don't understand how I'll see the green light for season 2 and 3 before one's even hit. And then other ones, it seems like they're really great shows. And then you hear nothing after. I don't understand.
I don't remember what it was.
I guess on Netflix streaming. Anywho, yeah. So Deck 9 published and collaborated to play with the other elements that were still canon within the game or the books or wherever you're going with this. I know it's based off of a lot of things, but gets to flesh out the story a little bit more. So I kind of thought of it like how we were praising The Last of Us for getting other characters throughout the TV series, that we wouldn't have seen in the game because your focus was Ellie and Joel. So it looks like they're giving you more characters and stuff within the world to be able to explore as well. You can tell the graphic style is greatly improved. So I don't know if they just rebuilt a new engine or what it is, but it still has the Telltale vibes, but definitely cleaned up.
Good.
Definitely cleaned up. Although the graphics never really bothered me, honestly, their art style for those games, because their stories were always so well done and rich and emotional that it was like the graphics were kind of secondary to me. But now you can have both, it looks like, because I always think their games were always really good and they make the choices really hard. I remember that. Like, there's always going to be that one where you're like, son of a bitch, I don't want to make this, Yeah, what did you think? Is that one you were even looking forward to?
Not really, because again, I don't have that connection to that series, so it's kind of like
here. But I like Telltale.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from the Telltale side of it, just trying to see, because we really haven't gotten. Has there been a game released by them?
I don't know if they've released one yet. That's what I was trying to think, because I think The Wolf Among Us 2 got delayed again.
Yeah.
I feel like that was supposed to be this year, and it might still be, but just later than it was initially supposed to be.
So if this was a return for the brand, and this is the first game to come out, I would be curious to take a look at it to see how other games, like what to expect maybe. But again, the story, I don't have. It depends. Like I don't have any reason to want to play it at the moment because I don't know the brand. If this was The Wolf Among Us 2, absolutely. It was another Walking Dead, maybe, because I still haven't even gotten past the last one, and I
haven't either.
I don't know why.
I think I was just done.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think
Nothing
that's what it is.
Nothing against them or anything, but I think I was just done with that story.
Yeah.
I probably will because I do enjoy their storytelling and their writing. That I've played some of their other games that I had no connection to. It's origin. So I might just give it a shot once it's all released, because I can't do the episodes anymore. I'm not patient enough for that. I want to just be able to keep playing. So once it's all completely been released, then I would consider playing it, because I forget what I did the month before and my choices. Guys, like, it's gone from my brain. And then I know they give you recaps usually, or at least I remember in The Walking Dead and stuff, they gave you a recap of what was on your last episode, kind of brush you up on the choices that you made. But yeah, I feel like I like it more if I could just continue through the story as I want to instead of being made to wait. Because what if it gets delayed and now I'm waiting 2 months or something? Like, no, I'm just going to buy the whole game once it's all out. But anyway, we learned it's going to come to all platforms. Episode 1's supposed to be dropping this summer. There was no firm date, so just sometime this summer.
Woo! Okay.
I mean, I'll probably look into it. And then the last one no, there's 2. Yeah, let's do both. Decarnation. I was really intrigued on this one because I had like a little Maniac Mansion vibes with the way that their movements and stuff, real old school, and the pixel art, of course, chef's kiss for me. It was a story-based horror that you're playing through with puzzles in your protagonist's dreams or nightmares. Some of the images were actually really dark and I loved it. There's something about pixel when they go all dark and bloody and stuff that something just about it hits different for me. I don't know why it just seems so more tragic because the art style maybe is more cutesy. I don't know. It does seem very adult, guys, but we're all old here, right? We just went through our demographics.
Sure.
More of a deeper story, I'm sure, and how you need to fight your own demons and inner monsters. It's probably what your overarching story, moral of the story. And again, Lovecraftian elements, as I figured we mentioned, because it seems like we chat about that a lot here. I recommend checking it out. And there's actually a demo that you can download on Steam right now if you can get it to go above 10 megabits a second. I don't know. Let me know, guys, if you could get it downloaded.
So what was it called again?
Decarnation.
Decarnation. That's why I was like, did I hear you correctly? Decarnation. Here we go. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Continue.
I think it was supposed to arrive in 2022, according to the thing that I was watching, but it was delayed. So now it's supposed to come May of this year. So in a couple months. I'm going to play the demo. Again, everything was taking so long to download off Steam yesterday. Or maybe I was just competing with too many people in the server. I don't know. Regardless, I was getting annoyed at how long it was taking to download.
Yeah, I definitely get the Maniac Mansion vibes.
Yeah, right? Okay, good. Because I'm like, I feel like... Because I think it's just the movement of the characters, too. Like, the arms don't move, the legs move, and how quick it seems to want to go, the exploration kind of. So that's what sucked me in, of course. And I was like, ooh, what do we got going on here? And straight up horror. And I can play horror and pixel, at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it starts getting too realistic and jumping out at me and everything. I'm like, nope. Lace taps out now. Can't do this. Although I have had pixel art games scare the crap out of me before. It's usually jump scares, and I hate those, but they do get me. But yeah, check that one out. And again, you got a demo, and I love when they'll give you a demo first, so you can check it out a little bit beforehand, so you can even dig it at all. And the last one I want to bring up, Park Beyond, because yes, I like builders, and maybe some people here do too. I don't know. If you like Roller Coaster Tycoon and other park builder types games, this one might be right up your alley. And I feel like I've heard a little bit about this a while ago, but I guess with us getting closer to its release date, now we got a little bit more of it. But you get to create all sorts of rides that in reality would never work out, right? Sure. But fun for a game. You build increasingly more crazy rides and coasters. It looks like there was a story mode where you can, you're a newly hired architect that's working for this struggling company. And you got to create unique rides and parks and stuff to help them raise their money. If you even are in it for the story on those types of games. I'll always play through them once, like, well, let's see what you got. So you can, you could be as creative as you like within the game bounds, of course, but it does look like a lot of fun, and I can get sucked into games like that because of just the crazier nature of it, and getting to build these ridiculous things, and maybe even going on like a coaster mode. Maybe. Take yourself through your own coaster and get sick. I don't know. But I liked that it was just a little bit more of a unique twist on it, where you're not necessarily trying to make these rides and everything that people are going to love. You're just going to make them all crazy and ridiculous. You'll probably have puke all over your park. I don't know.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Is that the mark of a good ride? I don't know. So if you like those roller coaster tycoon type stuff, Park Beyond, I think would be for you. And then I already talked about that at the top, I think, where Not for Broadcast had its DLC. And did I say it's coming in VR?
No, I don't remember.
Okay,
saying that.
So, all right, that was the one thing that they officially announced. And if you remember me saying this, when the game first came out, that I was like, this is totally perfect for VR.
Yeah.
100%. And even talking to the devs in a live stream, that was an intention initially was to make it in VR and kind of put a pin in it to get, the flat version out first and all of that kind of stuff. So I was really excited to see that they are 100% coming out with VR or will be in May. So May 23rd is when the VR version comes out. Again, I think it would be a fantastic idea for this game. So if you're into VR,
yeah,
I recommend it. I might throw them more money just to play it in VR again because I love the dev team and I love this freaking game so hard. Like, it's just ridiculous how much I love this game. And you can also buy the flat version for like $10 right now, which is stupid cheap for all the content you're getting. Stupid cheap. So yeah, oh man, there's a few sequences I'm already envisioning in VR that it's going to be so ridiculous. Especially when all the bunnies start coming around and trying to attack you and you have to beat them all off with it. Oh my God, it would be so hilarious. So I think I need to get a new headset that like both earpieces work, but I want to play it in VR so bad.
Okay.
And I think it's just perfectly lends itself to a VR game so much, just the way it plays and everything. So yeah, I wanted to brag about that. Go show them some love. If you wanted to play it, $10, Jesus Christ. Like, that's really good. You get a lot of content, guys. I'm not lying. Like, if you want to do all of them, all of the playthroughs and everything, 40, 50, 60 hours.
It's pretty good.
And then we just got a DLC. Because they filmed a lot of stuff and they gave us extra DLC, especially during the pandemic and things too, just for us to have something to do. They're like, it took forever because of, pandemic. But we even got extra stuff that I'm sure we weren't initially going to get.
Sure.
So there's a lot in there, guys. So I highly recommend it if you like FMVs and all that kind of stuff. And they're good peeps. I have enjoyed them so far. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to chat some cool video games this week and cool tech that I saw and screw any bad news. We were going to have a happy Monday.
Woo-hoo. So,
unless you're going to bring the mood down. I don't know.
I don't mean to bring the mood down. I did want to bring one little tidbit up because we didn't mention this last week. And I don't remember if this information was... I feel like it was announced, but maybe I just forgot. But we lost a very good actor last week, Lance Reddick. And he is doing the voice of Hellboy in that Hellboy game coming up. So I thought
that's right.
I was going to bring that up. And I saw that and I thought, oh, yeah. And because the devs were just like, no, he's still going to be our Hellboy because...
Why would you, if you've already filmed it, why would you even not?
I don't know. I guess maybe there was some question about, I don't know. I guess they were just, he's our Hellboy. We love him. We miss him. Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
Could you believe he was 60 though?
I
was looking at him and there was no way he was even 60. He looked so young, but yeah.
Well,
loved him. So that's a shame.
It's a shame about a lot. Things like that it's getting in my head a lot lately because I don't know everybody's. He could have had a medical condition.
Right. Yeah, we
don't know. As far as we know, it was natural causes, but he didn't seem like an unhealthy individual. So
yeah, but we don't know his life. Yeah.
Yep. I'm not judging anybody. I just. Do I only have 20 more years? I hope not. I hope I have double.
I know, especially since all of the people that I kind of grew up watching and stuff are starting to fall. I think that's when it started to really get me. I was like, oh no. Yeah. I don't know. I don't take care of myself though. So we'll see if 10 even, I don't know. I'm not expecting a long one is all I'll say.
Right. It's scary. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. No, it is. It's rough to think about. I think that's the cruelest thing humans ever got was self-awareness,
Just
like the power of just like knowing that, I think was the cruelest joke you played on humans if there was a God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let you know about your mortality. Fun, right?
Right.
Animals get to just live their life in ignorant bliss of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I gotta distract myself because my brain's starting to go.
Oh yeah, let's not bring the mood down.
Nope.
No.
I can't help it. Anyway, so siblings, as I mentioned a few weeks back, I'm continuing to rack my brain to find new, interesting stories that perhaps very few people have heard about. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like this should be that difficult, but you start mining the mine, and eventually, you start running out of diamonds and whatever.
True.
Anyway, today's story involves a game that I can guarantee you probably know nothing about. Okay? Now, even if you think you've heard of this game, the things I share with you today will blow your mind.
I'm ready.
Okay? Furthermore, if I am no longer seen or heard from again after today's episode, you will know the truth, so watch your backs.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Okay? Just saying.
Just make us all dead by knowledge.
Furthermore, I do want to put a little another little note in. This was not meant to be today's topic, okay? Because I apparently misjudged when something was releasing.
Oh.
It changed the shape of the story, and I'm just upset. I had a plan.
You had a plan? We could still do the plan.
Yeah, but this episode would have been a lot better next week. You understand why?
I was going to say, we could still... That's our show. You're going to hear it next week.
Yeah.
The suspense should be killing you.
But then I got to do the other thing next week because that's when that thing's coming out. And everybody's just like, well, you're just kind of spoiling stuff. I am not. Not. Anyway.
There's lots of things coming around. You don't know.
Anyway, as always, to get to the root of our story, we must travel back into the past to a decade long ago for some of us. Mm-hmm. And today, we start that story in the magical decade known as... I'm not really sure what you'd call the decade because, we really haven't gone this far back. Okay, because we're starting in 200 BCE. Now, you're probably saying, how the shit? Hang on.
Right. Like, how do we have any records?
Yeah. Okay. And something I haven't even really noticed, like I know I've heard the term, but I guess I've never really done the due diligence to dig into it. We've got an E now, BCE.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you, what is the E for?
Wouldn't you know, I did some research.
Okay, good.
Just for this very purpose. So the E is now turning the term before Christ into a more secular before Common Era term.
Okay.
So BCE is before Common Era, and now AD, as we know it as in the year of our Lord, or Anno Domini, if you know Latin, is now CE, which is Common Era.
I mean, that makes more sense to my brain.
Exactly.
For someone who doesn't think any of that actually happened.
So that's what this is now. I appreciate it because that's not for everybody. It's a more open, secular term.
Hey, they're finally wanting us to be included. That's weird.
And, if I may, and I know this may not sound like something people want to do, but I kind of feel like after I learned that, it just occurred to me, I think we should all go back to school for a little while, every 10 years.
Now, though?
We're
not learning the same stuff anymore.
Well, we're updating. We're just making sure
or eliminating.
Being like, hey, you were in school in this year, and this is when you graduated, so we're 10 years later. Here's what you may need to know for today. Here are the things we've changed.
That's fair.
We're going to update your brain.
Sure.
We just...
come into this century. Yeah.
We don't need to spend an entire year or entire school year. Just give us some new information. Be like, here's what it is. Here's what you learned then. Here's where we are with it now. Yeah. And now you're updated and you can go about. We're updating our brain. That's it. It's an upgrade.
I mean, you should be learning as you go.
Phones do it. Why can't we?
Yeah, they update. Yeah.
Anyway, and work has to pay for it for the 2 weeks that you go. Just saying that. Anyway, back to the story. So anyway, Greek statesman and historian Polybius was born in 200 BCE, and he wrote The Rise of Rome to the world prominence. Now, his work is important due to his analysis of the mixed constitution or the separation of powers in government, his in-depth discussion of checks and balances to limit power, and his introduction of the people, which influenced Montesquieu's The Spirit of Laws, John Locke's Two Treatises of Government, and the framers of the United States Constitution. Now, as I always love to posit, you may be asking yourself, what the fuck does this have to do with video games?
It's such a broad range of time that you covered there.
Right. This is a very valid question, but I want you to hang on to that little nugget of this man for now. Fast forward to the magical time when arcades were the hot spots to hang out, not just novelty destinations for people in their 40s. More specifically, let's drop into that year that is 1981, and even more specific, Hazeldale, Oregon. Now, one day, as was common practice at the time, there's a little business down that way called Flynn's Arcade, and they received a new shipment of arcade machines. New games to bring in those return customers. You know, you need to do it. I'm sure most gamers that frequented the arcades at that time would have no issue replaying Pac-Man or Donkey Kong for the umpteenth time because they were the games. They were the big games.
Right. That's what we had.
But you see, the problem is, if you're playing Pac-Man, I can't play Pac-Man. If you're playing Donkey Kong, I can't play Donkey Kong. And if there's a line of kids waiting to play the game, we all can't play those games. So there are other cabinets that need some love. Mm-hmm. And that's where other kids have to go play these less popular games. That's just, can't help it.
Yeah. And you might like it, kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's the best.
Exactly. So enter Alex Rogan, a high school student who happened to be that kid. One afternoon after school, young Alex went to work at Flynn's. He worked there, and he helped unload a new shipment of games. The owner of the arcade, Kevin Flynn, would allow Alex to give all the games a little test run after he'd set them up, you know, just to kind of be like, hey, you get to try all these because you work here, you know. So the least I can do is you get to kind of try them out. And it was one of Alex's biggest joys, you know, to get to play video games on the job while still doing all the other grimy stuff that you would do in an arcade. I wouldn't want to work there with all the sticky floors and... Oh,
God.
Ugh.
Yeah, no.
Kids are terrible.
Kids are sticky, too. Then they make everything else sticky, and it's just like, how are you always so sticky?
Now, one evening, performing a few startups on the new machines, he stumbled upon a lone machine that looked very unassuming. While many of the day would have interesting artwork adorned across the cabinet, this cabinet was plain black. Nothing to it. And he looked at the acrylic sign to see what the mystery machine was called. And it read, Scooby Dooby Doo. I'm kidding. Because I said mystery machine. Come on, keep up.
Okay. I was like, I've not played this game.
No. The name read Sinneslöschen.
Did it now?
Alex was curious what this game would be. He was in no way fluent in German. He had no idea what Sinneslöschen even meant. So as much as he wanted to play it, he was unable to try it that night. So he's just like, whatever. It's kind of neat. They're kind of intriguing enough, but not enough that he remembered, because he just went home and just said to hell with it. And he forgot about it until he got to work the next day. Now, Kevin had apparently plugged in the arcade machine in the back of the what would you call it? The big room, the play area. There's a word I'm looking for here.
Like the show floor?
Yeah.
Like the arcade floor?
Let's say show floor. I like that. So,
like, is it out or behind?
No,
like
where everyone's playing the games.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay,
Everyone's playing the games, but he kind of tucked it away in a corner somewhere. It was just like, no one's going to give a shit what this is. So Alex stumbled upon it, saw it kind of off in the back there, because, it really wasn't eye candy. It wasn't doing anything to really attract. It was just kind of, And then, of course, it's got that German Sinneslöschen titles, kind of giving those Red Scare vibes. People were just like,
I would think horror, maybe.
Yeah.
Sinister, sinis. I don't know if that's in German.
Even though Alex was still curious about this machine, he couldn't help but agree that, it's probably where it belongs, right over there. No one's playing it. No one was paying any attention to it. It's just there. So it just looked ordinary and thus invisible. But that's kind of what made it intriguing for Alex. He's like, okay, I'm going to check it out. Perhaps the game was so amazing that it didn't need to promote itself beyond gameplay.
Right.
Okay? So Alex made a point that was going to be his mission. After work, he's going to try that out before he goes home. So closing time comes around. Alex hurries up and does all his chores, responsibilities, whatever he's got to do around the store. So he could have that little extra time to try out this new game. Well, he popped in a quarter and he pressed start. Slowly, several shapes and geometric patterns started to dance across the monitor, varying colors. And the problem is that's the last thing Alex remembers. Because Mr. Flynn found Alex unconscious on the floor in front of the machine and attempted to awaken him, but to no avail. So he had to call an ambulance, and Alex had been taken to a nearby hospital where he awoke the next day. Now, Alex was questioned about the events leading up to him losing consciousness, and nothing about it seemed odd or out of place. The doctor in charge suggested maybe he needs to be tested for epilepsy, considering the situation.
That's where my brain went.
Deep down, Alex just felt like it was something else, something more, but he just wasn't sure. So he went home from the hospital that day, and it was recommended that he just take a few days, rest up, and figure it out. However, small town, news of Alex's incident spread throughout the town via gossipy little shit asses that like to start that kind of nonsense. Rumors floated about the game's possession, like it was trying to kill him, that it was just some freaky deaky machine. And this in turn kind of scared away some customers from Flynn's arcade. They were just like, I don't know, I want to go in there because it's where the kid almost died because the machine tried to kill him.
I believe people believe that, yeah.
Yeah, so, it didn't do wonders for business. Now, before I go any further, I want to address one little thing. I'm sure it's crossing your mind right now. I know this may seem just a little far-fetched. It's just seeming like, what? Okay, this is a little weird. And I thought the very same thing when I did my research, but I promise you it's all going to come together in some satisfying conclusions, so keep an open mind.
Okay.
Now, Alex was beginning to think there was something wrong with him. Epilepsy test came back negative. Wasn't that?
Okay.
So what else could have caused such a bizarre episode that left him with no memory of anything else in between? Probably 2 bloody Manhattans, am I right, huh? Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, that's my problem. As luck would have it, Alex was about to discover proof that, in fact, nothing was wrong with him and that something else was at play. One night, Alex was working a little later than usual to try and catch up on some things since he'd been out, doing some inventory and whatnot for Mr. Flynn. Now, during that time, he heard some noise coming from the main room. Mr. Flynn had left for the night some time ago. There were no cats wandering around the store, so Alex was a little concerned. So he armed himself and went to investigate. As he went into the main room, he slowly entered, kept himself out of sight, trying to home in on the noise. He eventually realized where it was coming from. Sinneslöschen. Now, Alex snuck over by the cabinet, peeked his head around the corner, and what he saw is something that stuck with him and it would never forget. A literal man in black tampering with Sinneslöschen. Okay, now, Alex panicked, unsure of what he's seeing.
Yeah.
He just stayed quiet, off in a corner.
Yeah.
The man in black apparently retrieved something from under the cabinet or inside the cabinet, locked it back, and took out the building. Alex had kept himself hidden, and he did not say a word because he feared for his life.
Sure.
But now he knew something was amiss, and he had to tell someone. First, Alex thought about going to the police. But what do you say? What do you say to people? It's like, there's this dude in man in black. He just showed up and they're not going to believe that.
I think he knocked me out or something one day. I don't know.
But then he decided to wait and speak with Mr. Flynn because, it was his store and kind of technically broken
he knows
into.
The guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the next day, Alex rushed to the arcade to speak with Mr. Flynn about what he saw. Upon arriving, he saw that Mr. Flynn was having Sinneslöschen being loaded onto a truck. Alex asked Mr. Flynn what he was doing. He told him that the machine was nothing more than a bad omen at this point, and he wanted it gone. It wasn't doing anything for anything. It scared people off. The hell with it. Get it the hell out of here. So, Alex thought, well, I just won't say anything. I'll keep it to myself because if he's getting rid of it, problem solved maybe. We'll just count it as a win and we'll just go about our business. So with the problem being disposed of, he just said, forget it. I'm never going to mention it again.
I'd be too curious.
And just like all of you listening right now, would you really have believed the kid coming to you saying some man in black came in there and was stealing stuff from a machine? Would you believe it?
I mean, kind of.
Maybe?
I mean, I've worked in bars that had like the poker machines that I've caught people breaking into and stuff. So I would have just assumed he was trying to thieve the money out of it.
Okay, fair enough. But there's a particular machine to be picking on as opposed to when you got Donkey Kongs and Pac-Mans running around.
True. That would have like real money in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Alex decided to let it all go. No point in dwelling on it any further. Game is gone. Problem's gone. Don't worry about it. So before long, rumors began to swirl around town that there was a game that sounded very reminiscent of Sinneslöschen spotted at an arcade in nearby Portland. Apparently it was extremely popular, and gamers were lining up down the street to play this. It's kind of a far cry from what they'd seen before.
Right?
So upon hearing this rumor, Alex was curious, and he decided to go in search of this hot new arcade title that sounded vaguely familiar, like this other machine that possibly tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He eventually made his way to Quarter World, where he noticed a large gathering. He asked a few patrons outside what was going on. They mentioned a new arcade game that was blowing everyone's mind. Another patron exited the establishment, sharing the news that just another kid had gone down with a seizure playing this game. A little
Okay.
disturbing, you know. Patrons
Yeah,
were
we're
elated.
Just watching this happen.
Mhm.
Okay.
They were all elated by this news, while Alex was kind of troubled and disturbed by everyone's reactions.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Like, what?
It's like you just have no idea what this game is doing. It's just driving people crazy. What it's doing to your
You're gonna
brain.
get super hurt, man. You have someone have a seizure in your place.
Mhm.
You know, you can't let that be a feature.
So an ambulance arrived shortly after with the entire crowd outside Quarter World in a frenzy about everything. It's just like word of mouth spread in this crowd. Everyone wanted to play this game despite what they were seeing.
All right, well.
Except Alex. You know, he just wanted to confirm his suspicions. So
Been there, done that, guys. Yeah.
he waited all day. Closing time soon approached, and the crowds were still heavy. So eventually, the owner had to start running people out of the arcade, as he had been doing for the last couple of days or however long the machine had been there. But he reminded them, hey, the machine's still going to be here, so just bring back as many quarters as you got, because it was raking in the dough. Alex, having worked in an arcade, he knew a good place to kind of sneak in, hide, and he hid himself inside as everyone's being pushed out the door. Owner locked the door behind him, walked toward the back, and Alex took this opportunity to examine this amazing new game that had everyone in a tizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, upon approaching the game, same kind of cabinet as he remembered. Unassuming, black, never even think it was anything. Then he looked back at the acrylic sign that he had stared at before, and he read the game's title, Polybius. He's like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
He's like, Alex then looks at the attract screen, and the game looks kind of like Sinneslöschen. Yet it reads Polybius. And he's just like, so he's not sure. He's like, it sounded like the game, and it should have been the game, but this is not the game that I remembered. Confused.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure if this was the same game or not. So he didn't really have time to dwell and ponder on this. So he went to go back out and just ponder what he had seen, but then something caught his eye. Made him do a double take. Something that no one else would have paid attention to because it was too unimportant a detail for arcade dwellers. Copyright. There at the bottom of the screen, read the line, copyright, Sinneslöschen 1981. It was the same game. This confirmed it was the same game. The reality set in for Alex that he had found this mystery game. And then before you knew it, the game started flashing imagery. And in the blink of an eye, wouldn't you know it, Alex found himself waking back up in a hospital. No memory of what happened.
He does not have epilepsy, are we sure?
Sure?
I know some things can cause non-epileptics to have one, but like twice is kind of
yeah.
fishy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I shouldn't speak. I don't have them. I don't know how easy they are
Sure.
to have.
Now, apparently, his parents filled him in on everything that they knew and informed Alex, where he was found after hours. There might be some criminal charges coming his way for breaking and entering.
Sure.
So Alex was even more panicked and convinced that something was wrong. Something is just really, really wrong because his entire world is being flipped upside down. And now it seemed like he was being silenced for knowing too much. Yeah. So he attempted to explain everything to his parents, the doctors, even the police. But you get into a panic and you start spouting conspiracy theory stuff. People start to believe you're a little delusional. Yeah. And recommendations of psychiatric help start coming down the pipeline. So, that's kind of what happened. Alex got committed, and little concerning, but his story got out and the game seemingly disappeared after that. Yet certain sources have come forward to legitimize his story, saying that they too remember Polybius. Others have attributed their fragmented memories to mistaking the game for other arcade titles like Tempest or Cube Quest. And if that's the case, then where did this other game come from?
Yeah.
What is Polybius? Well, I'm here to tell you today that I have in fact discovered the truth about Polybius.
Oh, blow it open right here, folks.
It's a hoax. The whole thing I just read you was a work of fiction.
I was going to say, this guy was seriously nuts. And he needed the help.
This was not somebody else's work of fiction. This was my own. In fact, some of you who are familiar with certain movies probably caught on pretty quick because you may remember certain names from certain movies. Alex Rogan was the lead character in The Last Starfighter, which was inspired by this machine.
Okay.
That didn't exist. What I'm trying to say and all that is Polybius is an actual urban legend. Someone somewhere, seemingly in Portland, spread false information that this game landed in several arcades in Portland in 1981, and any gamer that played it would become addicted, falling into trance-like states that triggered memory loss, seizures, blackouts, and hallucinations. Other stories say that it was part of a government-run crowdsourced psychological experiment with men in black collecting the data from the machines and analyzing their effects. Now, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you may be asking, now wait a second, how do we know this isn't real? In fact, I think I do remember seeing that name somewhere before. Mm-hmm. And if that is you, chances are you have. Perhaps you saw it on an episode of The Simpsons, specifically season 18, episode 3. Perhaps you saw it on season 1, episode 5 of Marvel's Loki in the background when classic Loki was talking with his little group of other Lokis.
I'll have to go back and look, but I wasn't looking for it, so I don't.
Exactly. Or maybe one of the many, many games that have been made by certain developers carrying that name and further perpetrating the myth. Because there is a game called Polybius out there that somebody made, Rogue Synapse, I do believe, just for the sake of, hey, why not?
Oh, fun.
Okay, but maybe those aren't good enough for you. How about the term Sinneslöschen, which was listed as the company's name? Well, roughly translated from German, this means, quote, the mind eraser. Bit on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah.
Even the game's name, Polybius, clearly comes from the aforementioned Greek philosopher who was born in Arcadia.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
And who developed the Polybius square, which is a form of cryptography. Or what about Dionysus of Halicarnassus quoting or having a quote regarding Polybius' history saying, quote, no one has the endurance to reach its end, end quote. That is some national treasure level shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. This was worked out pretty well.
Don't quite buy some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, to further my point, some of the details I did put into my story were reported as reasons why it could all be true. But let me burst that bubble real quick, because you see, blank cabinets were used as test machines for new games. So they weren't uncommon. Numerous players were reported to have gotten sick playing an assortment of video games, from Asteroids to Tempest, usually due to long gameplay sessions while they're sitting there consuming endless sodas in the arcade.
Sure.
That's going to make anybody sick.
Or standing there probably with your knees locked.
Mm-hmm.
Not loose. You'll pass out. Maybe that's what he did.
Perhaps.
Standing there playing the game with his knees locked, that can cause you to faint if you do that for too long. I've seen it happen, yo.
Sure. And the game itself could have easily been mistaken, like I said, by Tempest or Cube Quest, since the graphics of those games are like what has been described. However, I would say Cube Quest not so much, since it did not release until 1983. But then again, lies don't care about facts. So,
True.
While it is unclear who started this urban legend, or more specifically, why this even got started, it's clear that the game never existed. There are no records of its existence. Nothing. Okay? Sure, the Men in Black covered it all up, right? Sure. No! The fact was that there is nothing there. The fact that we're even talking about it as an urban legend is proof enough that it didn't exist, because if there were actual Men in Black, they suck at their job because they didn't cover it up well enough. Okay? Or
they were so good at it to make us believe it was just an urban legend that they were like, you know what? Nobody believes it anymore anyway, so we can let this be.
Perhaps. But, I'm inclined to think the latter, because did you see those last 3 movies? They were terrible. Anyway, don't
not wrong.
Don't believe it. Don't get sucked into the lie. No such game existed ever. Now, return to your simple lives and forget this podcast ever played.